Hey guys, so this is going to be more of a fun video. So we have right here Life's Biggest Questions, did one called What If Ganon Was Real? Also, you might notice that things are a bit different. The lighting's a bit better. I got like two floodlights plugged in right now. So the light's a little better. Normally, if I'm on a white screen, it just glare like horrible, like when you see right there with my hand. Yeah, but so I've got like two floodlights. But that's neither here nor there. So, what if Ganon was real? So I thought it'd be kind of fun to what if Ganondorf was real? Now, assuming it was Ganondorf. So, the rules are if Ganondorf is real, that means the Triforce is real, that means Link and Zelda are real, and all the monsters he can control are real as well. So, what happens if Ganondorf is real? Well, it would probably play out a lot like it did in Ocarina of Time. There would be a large period of darkness where we would be enslaved, humans would be like target practice and sacrificed and all that by him and his monsters. After a certain amount of time, people online would start getting together trying to find the hero, or at least the Master Sword at this point. People would be looking up ways of defeating Ganon, maybe old legends that stated how Ganon could be defeated. So to the internet people go. Eventually, after some digging, I guarantee you it would either be 4chan or Reddit. They would come up and say, oh hey, we found that the only way to defeat Ganon is the Master Sword. So what would happen? You'd have people going on a search, asking others, hey, do you know where the sword is? This and that. It'd take quite a while to find the sword, because if it was hidden, it's going to be hidden somewhere that no one was supposed to find it except for the hero. But with the power of the human mind and the internet, and most likely Google Earth, being able to see top down all over the world, people would track it down in no time. So the Master Sword is found. You have people going there, taking the trek there to basically become like King Arthur. They want to pull the sword out of the pedestal and save the day. Well, little do they know that, yes, the one who has the sword can defeat Ganon, but the person who has a sword is the chosen one, chosen by the gods. So, being that, knowing that a chosen one has to be responsible for taking down Ganondorf, back to the internet. Suddenly you see articles popping up. The chosen one is needed. Where's the hero? This and that. Well, after some time, articles being posted on 4chan, Reddit, maybe Tumblr, all over Facebook. Now this is assuming that Ganondorf hasn't prevented the use of the internet, or even if even if he has, these are like more like underground rebels trying to take down Ganondorf. So even if he has limited the usage of the internet, people always find a way. They go underground, make these groups to try to take him down. Of course, you're going to have some people who are stupid, thinking that they can just go ahead and defeat him without any kind of preparation or swords with magic properties, and of course they die. He'll keep some, he'll brainwash people to serve in his army, people he thinks are worthy. People show guts, because he does admire guts. If you remember from Ocarina of Time, Link didn't back down when he came out of Hyrule Castle, out of the market, where he asked Link if he saw Zelda go by, and Link wouldn't tell him, and he said, you got guts, I admire that. So he basically just hit him with a small blast of energy, not enough to kill him, but he does admire bravery for the most part. So people who he deemed brave enough would be corrupted, mind controlled, and given great power to serve in his army alongside his moblins, bokoblins, and any other foul beast he happens to come across. Now, because like I said, remember, if Ganondorf is real, all the creatures he controls, or possibly could control, are now these living creatures. So we have the Dongos and possibly dragons. So you name it, if it's in Hyrule, it's now real. The only thing I would make the exception for is like geography wise. Like I don't think there would be any temples or anything like that. But assuming that everything else is real, that we are living in the world we're living in, it's just got the Triforce and all that. I think we could say that the temples might be real, which means we have to find the hero real fast. So we're online. We're trying to find the hero as fast as possible because we can't take much more of Ganondorf's control. The world, it's like the sunlight doesn't shine any at all now. It's all just darkness all over, and some places are now starting to look like Hyrule Castle Market with a just decrepit, falling apart, redeads walking around. The citizens who live there have fled to other places to try to find safety and sanctuary. So after 7 years, the Earth is not looking too great. Now remember, Hyrule is a lot smaller than Earth. So 7 years he corrupted all of Hyrule. 7 years on Earth, most likely he could. There's no one who could stop him. Every army in this world could go out and try to nuke him at the same time, and nothing would happen. He could reflect everything back. So there's no way any army on this planet would be able to stop him. So we'd have 7 years of complete darkness, places just falling apart, abandoned, people hiding underground. So back to the hero. So it would take some time because I don't think the hero would know that they were the hero. Now, like I said, articles would be coming out left and right saying, "Where's the hero? We need a hero." You know, where's the hero of time? Well, assuming we know it's the hero of time. And then we figure, well, Ganondorf has the Triforce of Power, so we need to find someone who has the Triforce of Courage. Zelda might have to play a part, maybe. I mean, well, most likely, yeah, you'd have to use Zelda too, because she gives you the light arrows, and you have to, assuming we're going by Ocarina of Time logic, if you're going to duel him, you're going to need those light arrows. If you're going to still play the game back and forth, stun him with his own bolt, and then shoot him with an arrow. So we're going to need Zelda as well. So suddenly people are posting articles left and right. We need the hero, we need the princess. Anyone who has the Triforce of Courage and Triforce of Wisdom, please come forward. After, I would assume that would take a couple of months. Finally, the heroes are found. Link and Zelda come forth. Link is kind of prepped. He has to go through the temples and trials to make sure he is the hero. Because, I mean, he may have a Triforce of Courage, but he could still easily die. I mean, remember, there is a whole timeline where, you know, Link failed and the timeline started. So Link can die. You know, he can fail. So he needs to make sure. So he goes all across, assuming the temples are there. So he'll go to the Fire Temple and the Forest Temple, Spirit Temple, this and that. They would be exactly where you think they would. The Forest Temple would probably be in the, like, deepest part of the one of the biggest forests. Egypt, I could see being a place for the Spirit Temple. England, somewhere in England, would be like the Shadow Temple, since they had a lot of, you know, dungeons and stuff like that. I mean, any volcano essentially could have a fire temple in it. And as for the Water Temple, it's in a lake, maybe one of the Great Lakes. Here in America, so they could be. I'm just throwing out ideas where these places could be. They could be anywhere across the planet. So after some time, Link comes back. He's equipped. He's got his necessities. So he goes out and he tries to find the Master Sword. Everyone lets him know where it is. He goes there. He pulls the sword out of the pedestal. He feels that power rushing through him. I can take him down. Articles being posted all over. the hero has been found. Link is ready. Ganondorf's downfall is nigh and near, and the end of days has finally come. Ganondorf is going down. So all this hope. So Link sets out his final journey after 7 years and God only knows how many months of complete darkness on this planet. He gets to the castle, and I still want to stick with some physics, so I don't think his castle is going to be hovering there over some lava. He might have put it on a pillar or something, a large pillar of rock that has lava around it, but it's not going to be floating above. This is the real world. We can have the Triforce and everything, but floating castles, no, that's a little bit crazy there. So it would play out normal. He would go in there. Since he's been to all the temples, he has no problem at all going through Ganon's first part of the castle, going through the different trials. He has all the equipment, so he makes quick work of everything. Undoes the barrier, assuming that the sages exist as well. If not, it still plays out. So even if he doesn't have to save any sages, the trials would just open up the barrier regardless, and away he goes. He goes up, starts fighting the enemies. You've got the lizards, you have skeletons, and all your classics. You have your Stalfos go up there, and your Iron Knuckles, and makes quick work of them, as he should, considering he's fought them before. He makes his way up finally, and final confrontation, Ganondorf. Now, we don't know if he has other weapons, like apart from the Master Sword, if he has like the big Goron sword or the Giant's knife, or but for this scenario, we're gonna say he does. Just say he has the big Goron sword, because like I said, if Ganondorf and all that exists, then if the Dongos exist, then Gorons exist. So, assuming that he has all that, he should be in good shape, considering he is a hero. Now, like I said, he can lose. There is a possibility of him losing, because there is the timeline where he does lose. But with the people backing him, and I think him having more at stake, because like I said, Hyrule is a lot smaller than the world. Hyrule is just a small portion of the world, and Ganondorf's influence doesn't really go beyond that, it seems. So he has a lot more at stake this time, which would push him a lot more. So if he fell, that Triforce of Courage would start shining like it does with Ganondorf when he's on the brink of death. Boom, he jumps up in this fit of just courage and adrenaline, and he would go fight Ganondorf. First phase, fairly easy. Be funny to see this play out in real life. It really would, seeing two grown people, one with a sword, one with magic, and they're just hitting it back and forth. So this would be quite a sight to see. Like I said, he gets the light arrows from Zelda, so it plays out like it would. Back and forth, hits Ganondorf, he gets stunned, boom, arrows, jumps over, slash, runs off to the corner. Ganondorf gets back up, hits the ground, makes some of the bits around him fall down, lather, rinse, repeat. So Link survived the first stage. So what comes next? The collapsing of the castle, of course, our favorite part, the part that, quite frankly, I think a lot of us failed at as kids. So Ganondorf's last breath, he's trying to collapse the castle around him, trying to crush Link, trying to crush Zelda if she's there. He's willing to take himself out as well, just to kill Link. So the last bit of his energy, he's on the ground, and he's just making the whole castle shake apart. So down he goes. Assuming the obstacles are fairly easy like they are in the game, Link and Zelda should get through this no problem. They get out. I don't think it's going to have a little timer. Um, but Link and Zelda should get out fairly fine. Now, when it comes to the final part, so they get out, they see the castle collapsing, just completely in on itself. Pillars are falling. The ground is shaking every time one of these massive pillars hits the ground. They're standing and watching in awe as this massive, magnificent, evil castle comes collapsing in on itself. And then it finally settles, and all you hear is, and then silence. They breathe that sigh of, it's finally over. And then Link, like the hero he is, hears something. He doesn't know what it is, but it's coming from behind him. You know, they're not facing the castle. They're facing the other way, and they're chit-chatting, but he hears it coming from behind him. So he steps forward and tells Zelda to stay behind him. And just as he gets closer, boom! Just like in Ocarina of Time, Ganondorf comes out. He's battered, he's beaten, he's bloodied. His eyes have no pupils in them. He's essentially letting his inner demon, his inner animal, just take over him. Shows the Triforce of Power, lights up, and boom, we see the transformation from Ganondorf to Ganon. Boom! Falls to the ground, gets a little bigger, shows his blades, mighty roar, and just like in the game, he, boom, smacks the Master Sword out of Link's hands. Now this is where everything could turn. Obviously I want this to have a happy outcome, but just know that Link can fail. There is scenarios where he will not survive this, but we're going to make him survive, because we want a happy ending, don't we? Not sponsored, by the way. Alright. So, Link is swordless. He faces Ganondorf. He sees this creature. You know, Link is, what, 5'7"? He sees Ganon. Ganondorf's like this 40-foot creature. Just this major hulking boar looking down at him. Massive blades. You know, these blades could slice through anything at this point. And Link has nothing. The sword that he was supposed to use is now behind a wall of fire. So Link pulls out his big Goron sword, a blade that it's stronger than the Master Sword, but he can't deliver a final blow with it. But he knows it can do enough just to try to weaken him, or something. Maybe something could happen from this. So he takes out his big Goron sword, he holds it at the ready, and he goes for it. He goes between the legs of Ganondorf, slices him in his tail, thinking that this will take him down. Ganondorf turns around, starts swinging. He jumps back and says to himself, maybe I can blind him. He has some Deku Nuts ready. Achoo! Ganon goes blind for a few moments. Enough for Ganondorf, or enough for Link to get behind him, slash him again, knowing that this tail is the weak point. There's no chance at hand on hand, combat, sword on sword. He knows that Ganondorf will overpower him in every way, so he needs to be strategic about this. He knows that getting behind him and getting at that tail is the only way he can defeat Ganon. So he hits the tail again, runs back. Ganondorf turns around, swipes at him again furiously. He takes out another Deku Nut. Same thing. Lather, rinse, repeat. After 4 or 5 times, Ganon collapses to the ground, covering his face after being, he's bruised up, and his eyes he can barely see, have nuts in his eyes, and you could say Link nutted in his eyes. Okay, I'm sorry. So Ganon falls to the ground, and as he does, his power weakens. The fire goes down. Link sees his chance. He runs over, he gets the Master Sword. As he comes back in, the flames go back up because, Ganon's back up as well. He's back on his feet. He's shaking off the blindness. He's ready to fight. Link knows even now, this is even more dangerous. It was hard before, but now there is absolutely no way possible you can go at a frontal assault. You have to keep doing the whole blind Ganon trick. And that's what he does. He has only a few Deku Nuts left. He runs out of Deku Nuts. He sits there wondering, oh god, what am I going to do? I don't have anything left, because he doesn't have any Deku Nuts left. Bombs aren't effective. The only thing he could do is light arrows. So he pulls out his bow and arrow, aims, boom, fires. Ganon, he runs around Ganon, boom, nice hit in the tail. Lather, rinse, repeat. His final strike is a jump strike. He jump strikes to the tail. Ganon falls, groveling in pain, just his nose. Zelda, using little power that she has, holds him in place, letting Link deliver the final blow. Link takes his sword, begins to glow with a heavenly looking aura. It says, phew, 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 phew. Ganondorf gets up, screaming, writhing in pain, blood spurting everywhere. And then the sages, assuming they're here, do their job. They steal him away. All is good. Now, if the sages don't exist, we can assume maybe Ganondorf just flat out dies after being stabbed in the face. Or maybe Zelda can conjure up enough magic to seal him away herself. But that's stretching it. I don't know if Zelda has the power to do that herself. It's never been stated she could, but it's never been stated that she couldn't. So maybe if she prayed to the goddesses enough and asked for that power, maybe it would be granted to her, considering it's Zelda. But in the end, Ganondorf is defeated. After the grueling battle, of course, news spreads. TV, news outlets, and media online. Link wins, Ganondorf defeated. People are in the streets, praising Link, praising Zelda, praising the goddesses. People are having parties, social distancing. No, I'm kidding. That crap doesn't exist in that time. People are starting to rebuild. All these fallen, decrepit places are now coming together and becoming lively again, and people have never been closer than they are at this point. After 7 years of darkness, after 7 years and some odd months, or just say maybe 8 years, assuming how long it took Link to do all the temples and all that, people on this planet have finally found a common ground that where they can agree on something and become closer together, and hopefully not have to fight so much. But if there is a war, there will be one fellow who steps out of the shadows and fights in the name of all that is good and true. No. So people are praising and excited and partying, and things slowly get back to normal. Or do they? 100 years later, Ganondorf returns. But we're not going to do that right now. Now, if you want me to do that about what would happen if Ganondorf was real, sealed away, and then returns, kind of like a Wind Waker kind of thing, let me know, because this one was fun. This was all just on the fly, in case you didn't notice. But yeah, that's what would happen if Ganondorf was real. Definitely a lot longer than that 5-minute video of how long was it? It was 5 minutes and 49 seconds. Definitely a little longer, but I wanted to go into a little bit more detail. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I certainly had fun doing it. If you have, I want to do maybe a Bowser one, like what if Bowser was real. So if you guys want to hear more, if you want to hear another what if someone was real, let me know. Thumbs up, thumbs down, comment, subscribe, all that great stuff, and I will see you guys next time. Bye, guys.